Hello and welcome back to another pricey HD video, and this is the first video in a while now. You'll be wondering where I was. The channel update explained it all, but I did actually say I'd finish Season 2. So although this isn't the full proper return, that will be when Season 3 starts. I'm just trying to finish off Season 2 now, as soon as I can. So when we come back with Season 3, it feels fresh, it feels new, and it doesn't feel like we're lagging over from the last batch of uploads. At the moment, this series, we are doing incredibly well, and this season in particular, the Midlands clubs are all in the top 10. It has been an incredible year and an incredible season, and we are currently 4th in the Champions League spot, playing a Man City side who we got demolished by last season, last fixture against them, and this time we don't start off too much better. It is Fabian Delph, former Villa player, who opens the scoring. We go 1-0 behind here against City, and it is a team that we can't clearly win at the moment. We lost, what, was it 5-1 or 5-0 last time? I know there's 5 goals in it either way. And the goal tally in this game is doubled. Wilfred Bonny flies around in a circle. The animation glitch strikes once again. But the problem is, with a team like City, they are 11th in the league or whatever, wherever they were, ridiculously low. But they are clearly a much better side than us. They've clearly got better players. They don't have players like Stephen Gleeson playing in the Premier League. And the fact is, they're expected to beat us. In fact, this is the first video since Blues stayed up that I've made. So just to get that off my chest, incredible last 3 games. Last 2 in particular. It's awesome. But currently now we've got a squad report. New month, fresh start, squad report, of course. Reece Oxford improving as you'd expect. Jonathan Spector declining. Looks like he'll have to be shifted out eventually. We're going to have to make quite a few changes in the summer. You got the likes of Gleeson, Ramirez, just around or about that sort of area. And then you've got Kobe Arthur, 68 rated still. You've got Reece Brown, 67. Charlie Adams, 63. Viv Solomon Otterboss, 71. Jacob Murphy, 69, etc, etc. Matheus Pereira has improved. He's at 75. Che Adams has hit 80, which, again, is incredible. I'm pretty sure he's already hit 80 in this series. I can't actually remember. That's how long it's been since I made the last video. But I'm pretty sure he was already at 80. Octavio Roldan, 71. So, moving on into the next game now. I think we've got an interesting one here against Crystal Palace. After a poor result against Manchester City, we would like to get some points out of the Palace game, but bear in mind, we are in no threat of relegation, and that is exactly what our task was, to avoid relegation. So our season is pretty much done. I'm not being a Tony Pulis, oh, I've hit 40 points, I can cancel, but I am being a... You know, there's no pressure on us. We've got nothing to play for, really, apart from the fact that we just got to do as well as we can do now. And with 25 games played, 26 after the Man City one, I feel like now the season is only still around 2/3 of the way in. And with goals like that being scored against us, you've got to give them credit. Crystal Palace are the team that we absolutely demolished at the start of the season. So it's a real contrast, because Man City demolished us, we demolished Crystal Palace. But in both occasions here, we are currently on the receiving end of the goals, which isn't very good, obviously. But it was a really good, well-directed header by Johan Cabaye, and you've got to give him credit there. And Sam Allardyce's men, well, not anymore, but... You know, Sam Allardyce's men do take the lead in this game. I think it's not even Sam Allardyce anyway, so I don't know why I said that. So, ultimately now, going into the second half, what can we do? What can we change in this game? Clearly not much, because all the chances that we had went astray, and not many of them were very solid chances anyway. You see, the outstretched leg of Che Adams didn't really do much in the end, but we did have a corner from it. Reece Brown is the man to whip it in. It's played into Che Adams. Che Adams with a well-directed header, but again, the header is prevented by Steve Mandanda, who is an excellent goalkeeper in FIFA, and proving his worth here as well, as the Crystal Palace keeper, and as a Premier League keeper too. But it's just poor play, and the options aren't right, the passing isn't accurate. Lozano does touch it down though, and it is played over, but unfortunately it doesn't quite fall to the feet of a Birmingham attacker. Therefore, of course, we don't get the goal, and then Crystal Palace double their lead with a simple goal. An awful one to concede. Benteke races forward, I believe. Is that Benteke there? And then he's whacked in, but I don't even know who that was. I don't have a clue. But I know that it was clearly a very, very well-worked goal. And it was too easy. It was Ward. It was Ward. And unbelievably, we lose Crystal Palace And this is the same team that we decimated at the start of the season. We put 5 past them. 5 goals. We went 1-0 behind them, granted, but we put 5 goals past them, and now we're losing them 2-0. You can sort of see the lethargy in our team now. Lethargy, is that the word? But we want to amend things. We want to have an improved episode just from the fact that we have 2 more chances in this episode with 2 more games left to amend our wrongdoings. We are in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. It is the best chance for us to win silverware, major silverware, in this series so far. Literally, this is one of the best opportunities. Of course, we got to the League Cup semis, I believe, but ultimately, this is where we want to be. We want to be in the FA Cup final, and if we can get 1 win, we are going to Wembley. Wembley. Yes, Wembley. Sorry if you can hear the wind outside. It is incredibly windy today, and I'm not entirely sure why. But ultimately, Arsenal start the better side. They are a much better side than us, and they are clearly trying to break us down. But as one ball gets played over to Che Adams, he breaks free away from the defence. He's cleared through on goal, and can he be the keeper? No, he can't. It's a good save by Wojciech Szczesny. Szczesny. He must have some bad memories against Birmingham in cup competitions. You know, just plugging at the 2011 Carling Cup win. Riding on something that we won 6 years ago. Either way, 0-0 at half-time, and Arsenal aren't really doing much to threaten us. We're not doing much to threaten them either, equally. There's been a game of few chances, and you feel like, really, once we get in here with Che Adams, who just sneaks past the defence, the defence tried to step out, but he managed to stay onside, but again, he hits it wide, and it's just not going our way, is it? It's just not going for us. But as it approaches the last 10 minutes of the game, we escape into the final third with Jacob Murphy. It's a ball over from the goal kick, and then the goalkeeper, Didalon, is the assister of the assister. Jacob Murphy, a man who I was actually considering selling in the summer, has just gone and proved why he should stay at the club. His growth has been pretty average, and he hasn't really scored too many, but he pops up with some really nice goals, and he is a really solid winger. He was our first ever signing on the series as well, so I think he deserves to probably just give 1 more chance, give the rest of the season, see how that plays out, see whether he can make any impact. I believe he's just been back from injury as well, to be honest, recently, so ultimately, what a way to amend our bad doings. And if you haven't noticed, we are going to Wembley, que sera, etc, etc. So, going into the final game of the episode now, off the back of that FA Cup victory, semi-finals of the FA Cup. This is one of the best opportunities in years. Slightly more prestigious cup than the League Cup, in my opinion. Obviously, if you're going to choose between the League Cup or the FA Cup, you're going to choose the FA Cup. But ultimately, now, going into the league competition, you can see since the start of the episode, we've dropped down 2 places, rightly so, after 2, I wouldn't say poor losses, I'd say the Palace loss wasn't fantastic, but this loss against Man City wasn't bad. But now we're going into a game that we need to try and win. It's Hull City, they're 14th in the league. And they are officially the worst defensive team in the league also. Now, don't get me wrong, 14th in the league, if I was told at the start of the season that I would finish 14th in the league, I would definitely take that. I would take Hull City's spot at this point. But at the same time, considering how well our season's been going, and considering the quality of players like Otterbar, who have really stepped up to, well, the limelight this year. They've really stepped up. Early minutes here, 3 minutes in, a mere 2 to 3 minutes in, we are 1-0 up. But Hull are quick to counteract on that, and ultimately, they do get the equaliser. So it's 1-1 going in from 5 minutes gone. That is an unbelievable start to the game. 5 minutes, 42 seconds, and it's already 1-1. 2 goals already. And as we fire wide, it isn't until the 38th minute where Hull City get another chance, and it's well saved by our keeper, Didalon. We're going in at half-time at 1-1. Both teams have played reasonably equally. We've had a reasonably equal amount of chances. But there is a situation now where we've got to try and push forward for the victory. But overall this game, I remember not being, well, too happy with the way that we seemed to have performed. It seemed very lacklustre. And that was really more apparent in the second half, where a catalogue of chances just added up, and Hull City's, Hull City's statistics, I suppose. And it is Hull City who had the best chances. we are now in the 90th minute, and I haven't had one clear-cut chance, or even one half chance, that I thought was worth putting into the highlights. And we go in full-time at 1-1. And you can see it is the Hull City players who were disappointed. I know that's just FIFA, but, you know, they've actually had so many chances that game that the coding for FIFA has overridden them as disappointed. So overall, an episode where the only win was in the FA Cup semis, 1 point gained in the Premier League. We'll just have to see how the next one goes.